You are watching the Friday edition of Platinum Northwest TV News. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Philadelphia Mangoeng. Let's take a look at the news making headlines. First up, the new Agri-Hub in the Northwest Province is set to create employment, and the Joshlin Smith trial resumes with key evidence uncovered. In the business news, Microsoft is set to invest 5.4 billion rand in South Africa. And in the sports news, we take a look at the Kgorogo Social Investments Inspirational Walk event. We start off here with the Northwest Provincial Government set on combating unemployment. The Northwest Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, together with Premier Lazarus Mokgosi, launched a brand new Agri-Hub in Mahikeng at the Northwest University. The launch included Agriculture MEC Madoda Sambata and Vice Chancellor of the Northwest University, Bismarck Kgorogo. Now, the Premier emphasized that the new hub is in place for those with agricultural skills as well as graduates of agricultural colleges to receive hands-on training and work in providing food security in the province. In other news, the trial of missing 6-year-old Joshlin Smith is continuing at the Western Cape High Court sitting in Saldanha Bay. The 3 accused are now facing charges of kidnapping and trafficking in the case of a grade 1 Dyersville primary school learner who was last seen on February 19th. Now, the first investigating officer who investigated the disappearance of Joshlin Smith took the stand on Thursday. This is where he revealed key information in the case. Now, Sergeant Maya Milstein got to Middle Post at about 1 p.m. on February 20th, 2024, and he was introduced to the mother of the missing child. According to Sergeant Milstein, his team uncovered some evidence while searching the shack where the child was last seen. It is understood that while searching the residence, the biology dog identified a pillowcase and a bed sheet which was inspected and had stains that resembled blood stains. These items were then collected by the members of the local criminal record center. Also, on the 4th day of the trial, an inspection in loco was conducted of the Middle Post area. The inspection started at Joshlin's home, and from there, the judge was taken to the various locations within the area to emphasize testimony that was already given in court. In more news, the South African Police Service and customs officials have intercepted a cocaine shipment at the OR Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg. Now, according to police, the operation took place on Tuesday, resulting in the seizure of cocaine worth approximately 6 million rand. The drugs were reportedly on their way from Sao Paulo in Brazil to France with a stop in South Africa. Further investigations are ongoing. Moving on to international news now, with the ongoing war in Sudan and 3 member states leaving the economic community of West African states, as well as an increasingly volatile situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the African continent is experiencing a variety of future uncertainties. As the United States assesses its diplomatic commitments, questions arise of what will be its solutions for Africa. Now, Voice of America's Philip Alexo spoke to Alex Vines, the director of the Africa program at Chatham House in London, for a look into how uncertainties are impacting the cross-continent diplomacy. Here's more on that conversation.
The plan on Somaliland is a long-term one in parts of the Republican Party, and one of the nominees that might become Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, Peter Pham, has been very vocal on recognition of Somaliland. So it is a possibility under Trump. We saw the recognition of Western Sahara as part of Morocco, for example, and you had that kind of, the Abrahams, kind of process with Morocco involved in that. And so it is possible, it's very plausible that Washington might recognize Somaliland. I was in Washington myself a couple of weeks ago, and talking to people around the Trump administration at that time, they were like, well, there's already been plenty of fragmentation in the Horn of Africa, so let's just recognize it. They were referring to the creation of South Sudan, the independence of Eritrea. My worry is that there's a lot of fragility in the Horn, and other regions might then decide that they also want to become separatist and push, and so that could, as you've alluded to, create a greater problem. So, there are significant risks also to go ahead and recognize Somaliland.
If the war ends, that perhaps the prices of commodities and materials, would it go down?
So I think in terms of grain and fertilizer and energy costs, I think we'll see that. I think you'll see the freeing up of certain types of foreign direct investment into Africa. The Russians will certainly be a lot more aggressive. My view is that we'll see a lot more Russia in Africa, not less Russia in Africa after an agreement. The Ukrainians, because of the war, have discovered Africa. They were completely absent before the war. And so there'll be a little bit of Ukrainian activity, I think, in terms of some of their offers on the continent. They've opened us a sway of embassies and have been looking at where they can have business ties. My biggest concern will be actually the Trump administration, and goes back to your previous question to me. Will it be more involved on the African continent or less involved? I don't think the president himself cares at all about the African continent. I mean, he has made some statements around South Africa in his first month in office, or his first couple of months. But I do think that the issue that rises is if the US disengages further from the African continent, that will provide a vacuum for competitors and adversaries of the United States, as well as kind of allies, the traditional allies who are unsure of their position now with some of the statements coming out of Washington to look at the African continent and partnerships.
With that, let's take a look now at the business news. In the business news, President Cyril Ramaphosa has welcomed software giant Microsoft's plan to invest 5.4 billion rand in South Africa. The world's biggest software maker made the announcement on Thursday at the Microsoft South Africa head office in Johannesburg.
25. Now we have a new tech stack, what we call the AI tech stack. And fundamentally, it gets divided into three layers: infrastructure, the platform, and applications. The infrastructure layer is massive. It's what we're building here in South Africa. It's what we're expanding here in South Africa. Just as you can't have electricity without a power plant, you can't have AI without these data centers and infrastructure. But then on top of this infrastructure, there is the platform layer. And that's where open source or closed source models are created by companies like OpenAI or Anthropic or Google or Microsoft or others. It's where data is harnessed to train these models and then put them to use. It's where a new generation of AI platform services, software services, are being created. That's a lot of what Microsoft is doing. We're working with partners, and we're working ourselves to create all the platform software components, all for one reason, so that above this part of the stack, at the applications layer, people can get to work and create new.
Now, President Ramaphosa delivered the keynote address during the event.
Brad, and all of you who are here present, it's a real joy and a pleasure to be here and to be here with leaders from government and from business, all of you. This for us is a real momentous occasion to have had an announcement of such enormous proportions where Microsoft, a global company, a global player, which is an American company with an African heart. That's what I think Microsoft is. And as we were talking earlier with Brad, I said, Brad, you are very brave. You are very brave to have come out during this geo. And that's when I saw that this company really has an African heart. The company's commitment to Africa and to South Africa has been solid and also very dependable over the more than 30 years that Microsoft has been here, as well as being impressive. Microsoft has had constant presence in our country, virtually, as we've heard, since the dawn of our democracy, and having opened up its first offices here in 1992. Since then, Microsoft has substantially expanded its local footprint and is almost in every corner of our country and has now got thousands of partners as well as customers. The company's commitment, particularly to skills and capacity building, is most impressive, as we saw in Brad's presentation here. So this company is actively working to empower young South Africans with skills for the digital economy. We are particularly excited about the launch of a National AI Skilling Initiative that will focus on providing, as we saw, AI skills training also for public servants. We've got Professor Busani Ngaweni, I haven't seen him, but I heard he's here, who is the principal of the School of Government. We look forward to the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between Microsoft and the National School of Government and the National Electronic Media Institute.
Microsoft South Africa's investment launch aims to expand its cloud and AI infrastructure in South Africa to meet the growing demand for Azure services in the SADC region. Ramaphosa has also commended Microsoft's plans to train 1 million South Africans in AI skills, machine learning, as well as cybersecurity. And that's all from the business news. Up next, we wrap up with the sports. In the sports news, the Kgorogo Social Investment NPO will be hosting an inspirational fun walk in honor of the legendary athlete Manuel Tshosane, who has dedicated over 40 years to athletics. Now, this event will then take place tomorrow at the Kuma Transnet Community Center. The objectives of the event include honoring the Manuel Tsosane's contributions to athletics, promoting social cohesion and community engagement among the Kuma schools, supporting education through the provision of essential items such as school shoes and sanitary products, as well as inspiring the youth to engage in athletics, education, and arts and culture in order to achieve holistic development.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Palisa Lehasa, here representing Kgorogo Social Investments, proud managers of Kuma Transit Community Center. Tomorrow, the 8th of March 2025, we will be hosting an inspirational fun walk in honor of Mr. Tshosane, a legend in the running space, in particular with more than 20 comrade marathons. We are going to be honoring this legend, and as it's going to also be inspiring other young people like myself and many more to come over and to lead active lives, to also believe in themselves. And in doing so, we have invited all the schools. We have invited the elderly social clubs and all community members, the parents, and everyone is invited to come and have fun and also be inspired by this great man and his achievements in athletics. He's going to be handing out his own collection of medals to the participants tomorrow. And the schools, there's going to be a lot of activities for you. We're going to have aerobics. We're also going to be having traditional dances. We're going to have lucky draws. It's a fun-filled day with something to do for everybody. We are calling on all of you to come and participate. It will be held at Kuma Transit Community Center in Extension 8, just behind Extension 8. That's where we are located. and it was going to be starting at 8:30 in the morning. So registrations are still open today. We are encouraging everyone to come in numbers today, so that tomorrow morning we do not have long queues, so we avoid disappointment. All right, we are open now until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Tomorrow morning from 6:30 until 8 o'clock we will be opened as well for registrations. So if you have already registered, we encourage you to come over and collect your race numbers today. Otherwise, we look forward to meeting all of you tomorrow and to have fun with us together. Thank you so much.
Moving on to soccer news, Orlando Pirates coach Jose Riveiro stressed the importance of winning in this hectic season, stating that a winning streak is important to keep the players positive as the season draws to a close. Pirates is currently pursuing their goals in the Betway Premiership, the CAF Champions League, as well as the Nedbank Cup, where they will face MC Alga as well as SuperSport United, respectively. Saturday's Nedbank Cup quarter-final match against the SuperSport United in the 34th of the season, and Riveiro noted that wins can ease the mental burden on players so that they spend less time on the training pitch. And that's where we're going to have to leave it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. The team will be standing by on Monday. Till then, have a blessed weekend. Good night and take care.